Hey Pop Horror fans, I'm Tony Walters of Rad Movies. Let's talk about Death Note. Death Note, directed by Adam Wingard. Death Note's about a character named Light who finds a notebook called the Death Note, and if you write someone's name in this notebook, then they die. So with this ability, he kind of becomes like a vigilante of sorts. People refer to him as Kira. It's also a story about a character named L who's a detective on the case trying to discover who Kira is and bring him to justice. Alright, so let's just jump right into this. Just so you know, right off the bat, I'm a pretty big fan of Death Note. I own the anime series. I haven't read the mangas, but I thoroughly enjoy the anime series and what that story tells. This is an adaptation of that story, so they take a lot of liberties. But first off, I'm going to start with what I liked about this movie, and that is the casting of Ryuk, which is Willem Dafoe. Absolutely perfect casting. He has such a creepy voice and just works very, very well with this character. And I enjoyed the way Ryuk looked on screen and how they shot it with him like kind of always in the shadows, just lurking over what Light's doing. Absolutely love all of that. That works very, very well. I like the way that this movie's shot. It's really gorgeous color grading, and there's some really nice cinematography here and there. Nothing super spectacular, but visually stunning shots throughout it, and just an overall gorgeous color scheme. I really like that. Just from a movie standpoint, taking my love for the anime aside, just does it work as a movie? Yes, it's entertaining, in my opinion, from beginning to end. I enjoyed the story that was told, but the story itself is, for the lack of a better term, I guess, it is very shallow. It doesn't have a whole lot of depth to the story. The character's motivations are a little weak for the majority of what he's doing. It doesn't necessarily play on the, is he a good guy, bad guy? Is he, serving these criminals justice? It's more so like he's just doing these things to impress a girl, which is fine, but it's very weak motivation for the character. It seems odd to me, the choices that they made of what to keep in from the anime, what to throw out, what to skip over. They tended to kind of skip over the stuff that was character building, and more so keep things in that made the characters unique. Like L in the anime and in the movie, he is super obsessed with like sugar and sweets, and he's constantly eating. And he's really awkward and sits in chairs funny, like he sits up on his feet, like squatted down, which works really well in the anime. The sitting stuff works in the movie too, but him constantly eating in the movie I found to be kind of annoying and not necessarily feel as grounded as some of the other decisions that they made within the movie. So I found that to be odd, like to keep these in and make the character kind of cartoony and somewhat unrelatable. The decisions they make with the character of Light really bothers me because they kind of just montage through a huge segment that in anybody's life would really change who they are, and they montage through this moment where you're like, man, that's some really messed up stuff that's happening, but the character doesn't really change. He's still kind of just this kind of whiny boy pining over this girl, and it's rather annoying. Something that caught me off guard, though, that I thoroughly enjoyed was the amount of, like, real violence in the movie. When people die, it's a super crazy gory death, and there's a lot of heavy language in it too. I didn't expect them to go so kind of R-rated feel with this movie at all, but that's where it also kind of gets weird too, is because with it being that violent and that language heavy, it would appear as though they're targeting it towards an older audience, but at the same time, the way that the movie plays out and the way the characters are designed almost seems like they're targeting it towards like teenagers, like maybe like the Riverdale kind of crowd, or that sense, like just kind of heavy drama, like teenage drama stuff, which I didn't quite care for too much. Overall though, I found the movie to be entertaining from beginning to end, even though it kind of lacked some depth within the story itself. But just visually, like popcorn movie, it works as a popcorn movie. But knowing where these characters come from and what these characters are like in the anime, it is a little disappointing to see an adaptation kind of just fail overall in what made that story so great. Honestly, I just don't know how I feel about this movie. If you're going into this movie without knowing anything about Death Note and you enjoy it, then please go watch the anime, because it's only 37 episodes. You can binge watch that over a weekend. It's thoroughly enjoyable, way more enjoyable than what this movie is. So if this intrigues you at all, be sure to check out that anime. If you're a huge fan of the anime, you might not like this movie. Alright, Pop Horror fans, thanks for watching again. Hit down there, like, subscribe to Pop Horror, subscribe to my channel, Rad Movies, for more reviews just like this one. Click right over there for my last review, and we'll catch you guys next time, right here on Pop Horror.